Thank you all for joining us for our monthly MoAD open mic. We are thrilled to have poet Aleah Bradshaw featuring this evening. My name is Nia McAllister, and I'm the Senior Public Programs Manager at the Museum of the African Diaspora. MoAD is a contemporary art museum, and our mission is to celebrate Black cultures, ignite challenging conversations, and inspire learning through the global lens of the African diaspora. As we begin, I invite everyone again to share in the chat where you're joining us from. I also want to ground us in the spaces that we're occupying. As many of us are settlers, immigrants, and/or descendants of those forcibly brought to this continent, our institutions were founded upon the exclusions and erasures of the indigenous peoples on whose land we are located. MoAD occupies the unceded land of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples. We pay our respects to the Ohlone peoples and their elders, both past and present, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We encourage everyone to learn more about the native lands that you occupy by visiting nativeland.ca. And this is a resource we'll share for everyone in the chat as well. So thank you again for being here for our monthly open mic. This is a space for community where we bring our full selves, the spectrum of our feelings, experiences, and perspectives that shape us. In this space, we can use art as a way to connect with one another, to find comfort and joy in each other's company. And as always, I want to emphasize that we continue to center respect in this space, continue to uplift and amplify Black voices. So thank you all for participating and joining us in this experience together. So for those of you who are new and those of you returning, I ask that throughout the event, if you're not the person speaking, please do keep your microphones on mute, just so we can hear our presenters. However, because open mics are all about interaction and affirmation, I encourage you, please use the chat, type out lines or phrases or words that stand out to you, affirm our presenters and our readers that are coming up, use the reactions, use real snaps and claps, any way to really support all of those who are coming up to the mic, because sharing is a vulnerable thing. So we're here to support and love those folks who are coming to share. Thank you to those who signed up in advance. Each of our readers are going to have about 5 minutes to share, and I'll introduce everyone before they come up. If someone isn't in the space when it's their slot in the open mic, they might come in later and we'll return to them. We'll circle back. And midway through our open mic set, we'll have Aleah Bradshaw featuring. Super, super excited to hear poems. And I think those are all the logistics. Again, thank you all, our audience here, for being supportive and being part of this program as well. So with that, I would like to invite up Sylvia Blaylock up to the mic to start us off.
Hello, and thank you all, poets. I'm so excited for us to be here at Poetry Month. And of course, California 420, you know how we get down. I'm not gonna smoke on camera because that's just rude. My first poem is A Pocket Full of Receipts. Sorry, y'all. It goes around like it comes around, the attempts to snatch earned crowns, the desire to see winners be less so, from being the show to running solo. Too stubborn to give up and afraid to fail, I would rather crash and burn than turn tail. What survives in the rubble needs a bath with lots of bubbles, tequila, a pen, a notebook, some sativa. This trouble I'm up to is all good in the hood. Not a lot of time to get through to the people that I want to and need to. If there's one lesson that I paid to know, it's that everybody ain't gonna get to go. I have a pocket full of receipts for the price I've paid for all these lessons thrown my way. I've got a pocket full of receipts because I know what I paid. There's no compass point that reads, now you've got it made. But if I could choose, when you get right down to it, I've survived going through it. And yeah, won't he do it? I got more than I asked for him, baby. Listen, catching a star in my hands and wishing counts as prayer, depending on my intentions. And that's the end of my first poem. I wrote that this morning. So sorry I didn't get the role, but I like how she came out. My next poem was actually my first poem for National Poetry Month. Don't shame me. I've not kept up with all the poems, but I'm working on that. We the Dreamed. At what price this dream? Fingers point to the poisoned horizon from whence secession was aimed. A target was reached, but the march would not cease. The eyes that have it set out in peace. Those eyes have seen glory that did not exist in real time and were the rhythm most rocky. Our blues, they did not rhyme. At what price this dream? Some will continue to ask. Sometimes the rhyme will not come, but the lessons do. Sometimes the rhyme will not come, but the answers do. They say, what does not kill you is making you stronger. I say, what does not kill you may be reloading because all these motherfuckers have guns. At what price this dream? One of those hard learned lessons, the price of this dream is no less than all. Thank you.
Those were beautiful and also very inspiring as someone who has not been keeping up with writing poems throughout the month of Poetry Month. But thank you so much, Sylvia.
If I may, congratulations on your recent accomplishment. I am very proud. Nomadic Press got a good one.
Thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Carla Brundage up to the mic. Welcome, Carla.
Thank you, Nia. I'm going to read 2 love poems. First one. Come as you are, tarry not over perfect sod. If the salt is not quite washed, the milk a day old, if the meat be from the goat, not the lamb, do not fret, come as you are. Come with your tottering vehicle. If traffic wears your tires, your gas runs low, if your heater does not heat, come before day turns dark. Do you see the moon begin to rise? The streetlight flicker on. A cloud of bats takes flight from a banyan tree. The neighbors shut their doors. Do you see the moon begin to rise? In vain you check and recheck your phone. A message blinks on humming a tune. Surely this modern siren exhausts your tender heart. Would this blue lumen compare to those of the moon? In vain you cannot stop the train of data. Come as you are, tarry not over obligations. If the call is unanswered, who cares? If the lamp beckons, leave it till morn. The moon has risen and it begins its descent. It is late. Come as you are. Tarry not over your perfect sod. Another love poem. Sing the song of the moonless night. Chime wind notes softly across the bluff. In the transient shift of clouds, sing of the fleeting kisses and longing embrace. Sing of dark purple tide, stirring depths, lapping waves. Tangle not in seaweed memories, invisible words that lie beneath, drawn up in darkest hours. Let the moment pause as my heart beats against yours. A melody of wind, sea, and waves. Take to your breast mine, your hand behind my nape. Let our hushed whispers revel in love, twinkle of night, our secret escape, our dance across the Milky Way.
Thank you so much, Carla. Those were so beautiful. And just the imagery in all of them. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Raymond Nat Turner up to the mic. Welcome, Raymond.
Hello, Nia and company and friends and comrades and all that. I have one piece I'm going to try and do. This piece is called The Tennessee Three Speaking We. Epigraph, quote, Alabama's got me so upset. Tennessee made me lose my rest. End quote. Nina Simone, Mississippi, goddamn. 1, Cherokees on the road again, violently herded west, ethnically cleansed on crimson trail of tears, forcibly moved off Tennessee homeland to Oklahoma, where land acknowledgement ain't enough. 2, Lorraine Motel balcony, Audubon ballroom, Mississippi driveway, Chicago bedroom, UCLA lunchroom, polling places. Our leaders were voted out of office with lead ballots, swapping steel Lumumba for malleable Mobutu. We were left standing on duopoly corners, harmonizing campaign selection songs. Yes, we can, and I feel your pain. Left praying to Pentagon parties of long COVID capitalism for depleted uranium, white phosphorus prosperity. Lightfoot drone rangers remained. Bass Ackwards, Strong Arm Williams, Thomas Clarence, tribesmen trained to lead us in the treacherous 2-4 dance, donkey dung, elephant excrement dance every 2 to 4 years. 3, the Tennessee Three speaking we, from moribund bodies high on white powder in corporate crack pipes, apartheid state bodies of banana Republican rule. The Tennessee Three speak in we, in NRA faces of gerrymanders coming out of caves and fronting for fat cats, Civil War hawks, quacking like lame ducks. The Tennessee Three speak in we to bought and bossed good old boys, volunteer state puppets, paymasters, hands of Nazi asses moving Second Amendment maximum profit mouths. The Tennessee Three speak in we to dog whistling faces of foghorn framers, ventriloquists called Confederates, or their more modern name, fascist. The Tennessee Three speak in we to whipping post politicians, rebel yelling and cat o' nine tail tongue, tantrum Tommy Rot, branding the people's needs, wanting attention. The Tennessee Three speak in we, facing starred, barred, water hose, dog-bitten Dixie, hurricanes of hardship, awashed with stacks, waves of solidarity. The Tennessee Three speak in we, standing and delivering, amplifying voices of ones once celebrated, essential in nightly pot and pan banging, clanging concerts. The Tennessee three speak in we, standing and delivering, amplifying voices of shoe leather, street heat, pavement politicians, rising and rippling waves of maladjusted millions. Flicker of what democracy looks like.
Thank you, Raymond. Your
Merci.
writing is
Yeah.
timely as ever.
Thank you. Merci.
Thank you. Next, I would like to invite up Stephanie Welch. Welcome, Stephanie.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry. It took me a second to get my unmute button. And now, for some weird reason, okay, here we go. I'm so sorry. I'm going to read from a novel that I've been working on. So yes, this is the first chapter, actually. It's called Normal, Average, Ordinary, #be a winner. Tahani asked herself, will I ever be happy? The answer she honored her tongue to flag was no. A slow, hot breeze in the air of her mouth waved at half-staff with the word happiness surrounded by stars. Patriotic for what? Her breath wouldn't trust happiness invigorating with a mint. The clock at her job, Fit for Fun gym, told her in time language, yeah, there is one more hour left to watch people walk in and out the door to pre-order in their heads their dream bodies. At her job, one of Tahani's daily thoughts was wishing people would see others for what they cannot see. Thinking to herself, some of us walk by faith, some walk by sight. She had heard it somewhere and considered the former a way better reason to not run straight into judgment and have it smack her in the face. But did faith see her? Tahani ran all her life, however, in one place and not on the treadmill. That was obvious of late. Her boss was pressuring her to lose 50 pounds if she wanted to keep her job. She didn't. The job of wanting herself wasn't hiring, so there she was. What exactly was there to want of herself? It was most likely she'd lose 30 orbs of consciousness before pounds swirled off. She, moreover, considered herself motivation for people to stay in shape after they exited the door. Dead weight is all Tahani's life is. Born in a small dead town, raised there, and she couldn't count the times visitors came to Mervyn, California, astonished California was so boring. The only explanation Tahani provided was to tell them, go north or south. Los Angeles or San Francisco weren't too far away and available for their media represented appeal. Tahani had been telling herself for the longest, I see nothing as a way to see everything. But right where she was at, Tahani could not find her wallet. She misplaced it around 3 weeks prior and had not seen it since then. That passport cost me $60, and I actually liked the picture on it. She was not pouting. That only made the sound of her mute. So I'll share that. If I have like a minute left, I can share a very short poem. Perhaps time is the wounds and leadership is the Band-Aid. People are the ointments. Love is the scar. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Stephanie. Both hearing the novel was incredible, as well as that poem. You just blessed the space with those words, so thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Minka Taharka up to the mic. Welcome.
Greetings, all of you. Hi. Happy Aries new moon. Happy eclipse season. Just seeing all of y'all's beautiful faces. Thank you for co-creating this space with me tonight. All right. I'm so grateful. I haven't performed in a few years, so I'm just happy to be here and be my full self with you all. This is called A Note to All Selves, and I'm still deciding what it's gonna be. I'm like, is it gonna be part of my play or part of the anthology? So thanks for being a witness with me. Okay. Danger, peligroso, pericolo, Achtung. In all forms and phrases, do not read these writings, please. I am begging you. Not in a cute sense, but move about your business with an acute sense of when to listen to words of caution. Many of the thoughts scrawled here should only live on these pages and not in your or even my own brain. Oh, you're still reading. Fine, read at your own risk, I suppose. Yes, I'm ambivalent sometimes. Because I've grown accustomed to my own stubbornly incessant desire to hold all the emotions at once in an attempt to forego stagnation, yet somehow I miss the step that remembers fluidity comes first. I'm fresh out. Every time I think I've calcified, I'm once again hurtled down the endless canal of experience. My track coach would be proud. And that me that sat on the bleachers in 2 short shorts and 500 times washed honor roll t-shirt would be annoyed, to say the least, that somehow I'm back to seeking the attention of long lost and lustful lovers whose love left themselves off worse than others, enshrined in hallowed hollows dedicated to that desperate version of me, bookmarked by pale petals of forget-me-nots. Perfect deja vu no one asked for. This vile violet pattern I've seen so many times and still I forget out of convenience, nostalgia, and some might say duty, deciding to shoot myself up with a dose of temporary one-sided obsession, anxiety, and just a pinch of nauseating heartbreak to consume the parts that maybe would be focused on rage, indifference, or God forbid, actual sleep. Alas, who's to really say what you should or shouldn't do now that you've reached this far? Consider this an invitation into pieces of Minka's merry madness. I won't hold back, because now that these parts have been shed, what a fool I would be to argue with the dead. Thank you.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that work, and I'm excited to see where and what form it may take in the future. But thank you for sharing that with us. I'm now going to read a short poem and then introduce our featured poet for this evening. This is a rather new piece that is currently untitled. In the low light of 4 a.m., we rock, our bodies nestled together, my head on her chest, breathing slow. We suspend reality, transport our presence into abundant possibility. We sway. The morning doves on the window box chatter, anticipating the storm. They shelter wing to wing under the paper bag we placed over them earlier that day. We rest, we rest. Her arms wrap around me, holding a world of uncertainty. Will I sleep through the night? Will we brave the storm? Oh, how our weathers collide, our body rhythms synchronize. We fly, we fly. In dreamland, we are the freest versions of ourselves. Today, she may be keeper. Today, I may be kept. But tonight, we are boundless, weightless. At dawn, the storm breaks. The chair slows to its stop. I awake in my mother's lap. Thank you. It is now my honor to introduce Aleah Bradshaw, known performatively as Nyfe. Aleah is a 26-year-old performing artist, writer, and educator with a passion for poetry and hip hop as tools of liberation and creative expression. They were born and raised in Aurora, Colorado by two Trinidadian American immigrant parents and a community of poets and activists who inspired creativity both in their work and their conscious imagining of a new world. They now live in Oakland, California, where they work as a performing artist and educator while managing their own small business and a collective musical project, Closegood. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here, y'all. Thank you for the words, like already feeling the energy. Hopefully I can do right by y'all because yeah, the talent in here is wild. So thank you so much, y'all. I'm gonna read some pieces for you today. This first one is called Welcome, and it is about beauty. I write a lot about beauty, I've noticed lately. So these first few pieces are gonna be on that theme. Welcome to my ugly era. And by ugly, I mean beauty is a glass house that you can pay rent on until the day that you die, but never really own it because it isn't really real and is also probably white. And even when they tell me the beauty is outside and she's waiting and she wants to meet me really bad, I don't go. I have this sneaking suspicion she wants to jump me blind with the rest of her imaginary friends. And I think one of them is named professionalism. And I heard that she can fight in a way that'll ruin your whole life. And I can't beat her, and I can't be her, and I'm not sorry. So I guess by ugly era, I mean, welcome to the era of me not being sorry for how I naturally occur. And when it started, I got mail asking for my femininity back, and they didn't even give me a return envelope. They said I had to pay the postage out of pocket, and the price was years off my life, and I couldn't afford it, so I kept my femininity. But when you do that, they still send you junk mail. They still spam your number every single day, even if you unsubscribe, even if you manage to text back cancel in all caps without crying or comparing yourself to the pretty girls they put on the stamps on purpose and consider signing up again. They still knock. They still throw stones. They still shatter the doors and drag you out over the pieces. Thank you. This next poem is called The Look. It is also on the topic of beauty. And I wrote this actually for another event at the MoAD. So want to thank this space for like constantly inspiring me to like think about things in new ways. If beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I am asking America to look away from me. Avert the gaze. Let the pupil swallow the white of your own eye, looking for the light in me and never find it. Stumble around colorblind in this vast space, arms outstretched to feel up the dark but never quite grasp it in your hands. I am black as the space between your fingers. I'll always slip through and settle into anywhere that I fit. The pitch black pit of a stomach, back of throat, black hole eater of imagination, spat back out again. To see me is to know my power, so look away. Misunderstand me into immortal if it means you treat me less like you treat your gods, like a shallow love above a deep fear, like a struggle validator, like make it worth it, farm my faith from this barren land. Treat me like you treat the sun, Like I could burr the body from dust and burn it back to ash whenever I'm good and ready. Disbelieve me from your universe altogether and watch the orbit tip. Blame the turning on me if it gives you your name, if it can kickstart that old system of weeks and days given to an industry. If beauty can be auctioned, if beauty can be purchased, if beauty can be sold, then I know there are other things to be. In fact, ugly me back into a person. Bite off the acrylic so I can fight. When I am 7 and I sweat out my silk press playing a made-up game, say my words are an unreal language. Say my words are baby babble on playground. When I am 17 at prom in a dress I made from scrap fabric that my mom and I fastened together last night. When I remove my shoes, when I unglue my lash to dance a little better, unsee me if you cannot see the sweet in my sweat. If the root unraveling makes me an ingrown flower, let me live here in the brown dirt. If I am a blood stain and not a pattern dye, then wash me from your hands. If the seat is not for me, shorten the table. Is it still a feast if there is no one begging? Uninvite me to the party and maybe you will notice it is a grease fire. If beauty is in the eye, then what is in my mouth? What is in my chest digging itself out? Ask a better question. And the answer still might be beautiful. Like, what is the sky? Beautiful. What is a body? Beautiful. What is ugly but a collection of beautiful things that I cannot see? And how elusive of them, how playful to forsake visibility and come out alive. How grandiose to deny this tiny organ its sugar. What feat of athleticism, what display of humanity defined through resistance. How easy to be worthy of your own existence. How easy to be pretty to a face looking down at you. But ask a better question. Whose face? Thank you. This next poem's a short one. Last poem on the topic of beauty, was thinking a lot about how some of my ideas of beauty come from the media, come from like social media specifically, come from my phone. So this is a short one about the algorithm. I dreamt the algorithm loved me enough to give me an entire world. I dreamt that it dreamt of me, unsponsored, and worthy still of existing, but only in the way that matters outside of myself, in someone's hands, in someone else's eyes upon which they build entire worlds. I woke up and I wanted the algorithm so badly I became no one at all. I washed out from my hair the smell of my own skin. I lit this blue candle to burn down my own name, invoked the god of SEO to erase the carbon print of me in exchange for a secret I've never written down. Something worse than ugly, because ugly too is marketable. Something unpretty. Thank you. This next piece is an anthem poem, an ode poem to Blackness specifically, to hair, to locks, to protective styles, and it's called Anthem Poem. This poem is for the hair store, for Black girls with tight curls and rappers often named Plague instead of Prophet. This poem is for do-rags. This poem is for wave caps and plastic bags turned into shower caps. I petition you all in amen. I call you to offer up self-hatred, offer up doubt, offer up expectation as a sacrifice to the white gods you were taught to pray to. Place your hot combs on this new altar. Let them be burned for once as simile for your skin. Let this scent be the sweet that swells in our throats. Let us slip shea butter secrets between our oiled hands and giggle, laugh even at how our smiles still have all their teeth. And I mean, how dare the comb? How dare the comb think it have authority here, think it could tussle with all this thick and return home without gaps in its gums, like it could ever rival this happy or be a worthy opponent to the weight of this heavy? How dare the towel Think that it could soak up all my stubborn water like my crown ain't an ocean making the burn cool. Go ahead, act like my work, like my sweat don't make heat itself unravel, like I don't scare straight, make space shiver at all this anti-gravity and gravity shiver at all this pull, all this teeth grit testament to the soil, toil till my 2 puffs look more like 10 commandments on 2 tablet stone. What blasphemy? What act against faith itself for a curious finger to wander through these woods like my hair ain't the leaves screaming, ain't the hungriest dirt, ain't the feral ground standing at attention, the kind of unwavering that makes patriotism jealous, the kind of upright that wrong wishes it could be, like America, don't hate this brand of pride, don't choke on all this righteous, don't tiptoe around the sanctuary like they're scared to wake up the holy in our hands, like God forbid the way we gather, the way we hold steady with no rubber band at the end of a braid, the way we pray to the darkest thing we can find inside of ourselves, the way we sing silk songs to our scalps to help them sleep at night. Let us be loud lullabies. Let us never put our children to sleep with white noise. Let us be volume and floor between our mother's knees. Let us be line up at the kitchen table, fade in the bathtub, hard line cut like the muscles in our back, soft blended like a whispered history. Yesterday when I brushed my mom's hair, I folded in the butter, the milk, the oil, and watched her bargain a pinch of salt from her eyes and thought, what a family recipe this is. What an ancient hymn. What God you know ever tasted this sweet? Thank you. Thank you so much, y'all. Love writing about my mom a lot. Love writing about things that bring me joy. This next poem is a poem about joy and kind of the strange and silly places that we can sometimes find it. Joy lives in certain alone moments. When I beat the game that I've been dying in for months, and it is 3:46 p.m., and my house is empty of friends, empty of lovers, empty of the smell of food, but the boss death animation is glorious, and my eyes are a little tired, and I can only see tiny me die so many times without wanting to lock them into a game that never ends. To survive by victory, joy lives 4 meta layers deep. I watched the finale of a show I'm vetting for my lover's attention span, and I imagine his reaction to the part I am currently reacting to. I save my joy for then so it doubles in interest. Joy lives in saving and spending my time, self-denial and saying fuck it, dancing between the two, tripping over my feet, but finishing into something sexy, full-on floor routine on the big rug in the living room, and I can hear my own mouthing of the words. I can hear my own breathing. I can hear the laugh of my best friend performing the high parts and the ad-libs. Joy lives right there, and I wish I could leave it for you sometimes, but it's better to carry these things woven into the material of you. And some might even say deeper than that. If you're the kind to believe in spirit, then the joy is always there. The joy is always there. Thank you guys, appreciate it. These next 2 poems I'm gonna do are about music. In addition to writing poetry, I love music. Music has always had like a very special place in my heart. One of the first mediums that kind of opened my eyes to what art could do, how art could heal. This first poem is about being in sign language choir as a child at my Black church. So it's called Sign Language Choir at the Black Church. We had hands. We knew the lyrics, frontwards and backwards, and hummed the melodies in our sleep. We could sass with the twist of a wrist. We could shoulder shake off the dust bowl and hip swing till the Bible Belt fell if it meant we could dance. We skipped out on sermons for practice in the church basement. We knew our mothers were ushering, were counting the tithe, and would not lecture us out of these particular movements. We knew our fathers were deaconing or preaching modesty into the other church daughters, so we would storm in after and undo all the work. We would unloose our limbs and shake like Job Malassi at a devil mass. We were barefoot between the pews, moving like church and the club never really segmented. We moved like Satan came from God. We danced and finger spoke the words like it could send a missionary back home, like it could decolonize a sanctuary back into a dance circle. We caught the old spirit in Eve's body first. We rewrote Eden for the modern girl. We were production managers, choreographers, stunt women. We settled the chittering children and woke up the sleeping teens. We could interpret any word into the body. We could turn any song into a ritual murmur. We practiced Wednesday after school. We practiced Saturdays. We practiced Sundays too. We stayed up late on ASL forums finding the right sign for holy in this context. We had nothing but gospel songs with 808 in our two hands. We were the first family I saw swing for a sister and on a sister. We were in the world and of it. We were not virtuous women. We were not Mary Magdalene at the feet of God. We loved music more than God, and we never called it blasphemous. We knew it all came from the same sound. We understood that somewhere, perhaps in the heel, that a Christian and an atheist have the same potential for gratefulness. We sang alongside the silence. We understood somewhere, maybe in our throats, that this isn't the only place a voice can live. And this next poem is called Two Black Kids Nearly Blow Out the Speakers While Listening to MOP's Annie Up remix. So it's 1777 and this dude called Black Resistance pulls a neon mask over his face. He drapes himself in feathers and starts answering to the name Carnival, and he be wildin', running around Trinidad, burning plantations to the ground and using the sugarcane shards as drumsticks, calls this rhythm religion. He looks out into the ocean and thinks to call the music Calypso after the goddess, right? Then it's 1881, and the Trinidadian government bans drums at Carnival. And homeboy Black Joy is off working on an oil rig when he hears the news for the first time. And he looks into the water to wring hope from his face, but finds the only valuable Black thing to be the oil spilling. So he turns the oil drum into a steel pan and names every note after an auntie for every woman who taught him God. Now it's 2007, and Black history is riding in the back seat with me and my brother, and we hand homie the ox. And this shit right here feel like a whole entire world collapse. And we drive with the windows down. We pull up like two trumpet cloud roll back. Second coming done came in a Honda Accord. And Shad calls it the Golden Whip because Big Brother's always got cool names for things. And Shad calls me Lil Bit, calls me Chuck, calls me strong and beautiful. And it's the first time a Black man says that to me. And suddenly we are the music. We be bass so bursting that this subwoofer howls like a feral dog picking its teeth with white bones, and we hear our history lisping in the hiss of the hi-hat, and we stank face, and we rock, and we rock, and we rock till the seats be vessel, and we're not drowning anymore. Thank you. This piece I love to do after I talk about my brother, because every time I talk about my brother, I feel homesick. So this piece is a piece for Colorado, where I'm from, and for the cold weather, it's called Colorado Blizzard. When it's cold out, death is little in my heart. I jitter like this tap dance could bring my grandpas out the ground. I swallow mint in spring water, but am not drowning. For the first time in months, I show my teeth, and they pick a fight with the snow. They win. No men on the corner beg me to smile. No men say, "Aren't you cold, sweetheart?" Because there are no men outside when it storms like this. The streets are quiet, and the only thing whistling is the white wind and all her jewelry jingling in the gutter around our roof. My toes are swaddled as baby Jesus in my 4 favorite pairs of socks. They crunch the ground like my snow boots are really kitten heels clicking on the floor of some gala. I power walk and I watch the sea, frozen in fear of me, Moses itself to make way for the warmth of my joy. When it's cold out, my hair is growing, and at any moment I have talked to my mother yesterday. At any moment, my belly is full as my Spotify queue, full as the hands of this heavy sky, full in a way that compels my rushing blood but doesn't force it. and the vines of me that blossom so wildly in my summer skin melt back into me as if they were never there to begin with. And death, the thought of it, has flown away someplace she can blacken in the sun. Thank you guys. I think I only have like 2 more. Yeah, I got 2 more pieces. This next piece is called A New Game. Hey, so I made up this game last night. I call it self-loathing by way of other people's mouths. And basically, first thing you gotta do is find something that's the wrong kind of warm, something that's full of tomorrow's empty, like whipped cream on top of a cake that's too pretty to eat, like double tequila shots or a white man named after his father. And then, once you've found the thing most unable to keep you full, let it name you. Love it like you've never even had a body. Love it like the things you do are always good for you and you know what healthy means. I made up this game this morning. I call it Queer Fear Factor, or what today has made me heavy. Was it the cake and all of its empty calories? Perhaps the shots burned into my chest a narrow path to God. Perhaps the boy did not metabolize well. And now my stomach is a pile of tired bees. In all likelihood, the boy is siphoning my energy still, even now, even hours after he's forgotten my mouth entirely. And maybe that's the rubric for points in this game. Maybe you win for how fast you can make someone forget you. Pull back a curtain and just phase right out of a pair of hands. Maybe this game is actually an elaborate trick. Maybe I should take this trick on tour, call this trick reclamation of the word performing, or feeling big by way of choosing small. Let's just call the trick womanhood in this house, or even better, I'll name the trick after my mother, and I think she'll get it. All we black and once called burden now how to twist unloved into a kinder word, into a sort of joke. Came up with a joke just now. Goes like this. What do you call the queer Black bodies that don't fuck you, that don't fight for you, that don't blister under the heat of a hateful gun? Do you call them at all? Do you know their names? Do you know their names? Do you know their names? Thank y'all so much. This last piece is called Alternate Universe. One of my favorite pieces I've written in a while. And I highly encourage you, if you're ever feeling down, if you're ever feeling like maybe you need your poetry to do some work for you and make the world more beautiful, I encourage you, imagine yourself as a god and rewrite the universe that you want to live in. That's kind of like the power we have as writers and poets. So this poem is called Alternate Universe. I am a powerful creator of reality, and this time I've decided the world was made in the mind of me as a child. When I imagined myself a princess or a shark or a thief, and it became so by way of my mother's big bag of hand-me-down clothes and an entire empty afternoon. This time around, I imagine every Black child has wings, and those wings color change when they break a generational curse or receive an ancestor's blessing. And those wings shimmer with a new luster under the black night. They reflect moonlight back onto their faces. This time, I imagine we got 2 moons, the one in the sky and every Black kid's wings. And in this world, the air is clean enough to sleep on, face pressed to it, cheeks imprinted against a hand. I rub my eyes and awaken to what it would mean if we could see the stars we were wishing on. And when anyone is hungry, they only need to close their eyes. Imagine blowing out a candle and open them to cake or bread or a really good curry. I reimagine every forest as alive in the way that we are. I give water a name again, and now the lake can say no to the pipeline. I give the soil the right to consent or not consent. The creek negotiates prices with the plastic water bottle company by babbling gibberish and soaking all the contracts to mush. I unimagine thirst. I unimagine starvation. I unimagine sickness itself, and all the tap water runs clean. The rain outside is drinkable. We run outside with our mouths open, and every father is not afraid to dance in it and say, I love you. I unimagine unreturned love. I unimagine 2 jobs just to get by, and the client never claims that you stole from her. I unimagine the heavy weight of immigration on my mother's shoulders and watch it feather its way backwards into the air. I create here a cloudless day with a kind sun, like the summers of my early life before climate change, wildfires, and heat waves mutated a virus. I unimagine hate as a virus. Here, if you want to hate something, you must look it in the eyes and live its life 2 times, mother it in another. Here, we experience our happiness knowing it is as much ours as it is anyone's. I unimagine fear and the prisons disappear. Families get together and play elaborate games just to hear each other laugh, the way we all do when there isn't an apocalypse to manage today or a pandemic to work through, the way we wish it was. I imagine it, and it is so, by way of this, by way of speaking, being heard, and the plea to collectively imagine again. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, y'all. Thank you for your time and attention. It's been wonderful.
Thank you. That was an absolutely incredible set. Every single poem just builds on the previous one in such a beautiful way. Things came back full circle. I laughed, I cried, everything. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And yeah, that was incredible. And before we transition to the open mic, I always ask our features if there's either anything coming up that you want to plug for people to either show up to, if you have a website or ways that we can support the work that you're doing. This is the time to share that with us.
Thank you so much. Actually, I would just love to plug on behalf of the youth right now. On Saturday this week, there are a bunch of young people from high schools all over the Bay Area who will be performing, competing, sharing their work at the Unified Poetry Slam. There are tickets to come through if you want to see it. I would highly recommend y'all come through because every time I hear the young people do poetry, it gives me hope and it makes me want to write again. So yeah, come through. You can get tickets and information at youthspeaks.org. That's my only plug for today, but thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Amazing. And we'll get the link and we'll put it in the chat for folks. But yes, everyone should know about Youth Speaks, support the youth. There's incredible voices out there doing amazing things. So thank you for that plug. And with that, I'm excited to transition to our second half of our open mic and invite up Sandra Curry to start us off.
Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for having me. It's been a while since I've read my poetry, so and mine are kind of brief, so I'm going to try and squeeze in as many as I can in this time slot. The first one is called Born to Be. Feisty, that was the fight in her, while surrender sounded muted like a weak little kitten's purr. Born as she, a little woman to be, was groomed in frills and fears of he. Allowed a few tears when she fell from the swing. She ceremoniously disappeared when she accepted his ring. Bruised and battered by the timber, the tone of the anger he expressed made her cringe at the mere thought of becoming undressed. Though she grew and blossomed, the little woman to be had to ferociously garner every fleeting scrap of power and fashion a new life for herself nearly every hour. For being born a she, with all thought devoted to please a he, was not who she truly was or ever wanted to be. Thank you. Next one is called My Mama Loved Me Still. Moments of recognition fill my heart, recognition of love, of my mama's love, of my love for my mama, moments of recognition that brought us together closer than ever. Sitting with her at her proverbial nesting place, her dining table with cigarette and coffee at hand, we talked, mostly me once again, lamenting my pending divorce, trying to accept the fact that my children still loved him. Mama, I can't believe they still love him after he's hurt me so much, I said. My mama looked me dead in my eyes and with a gentle but penetrating, fierce wisdom replied, I know. Such a recognition, such a revelation, and she loved me still. I know. Speaks truth about the pain love can bring. Okay, and this next one is called When I Walk In. The count is first, of course, always looking for more of me because my singular presence makes me shudder with remorse. I stride into this space with my shoulders straight and head held high, pretending not that I belong in this place, wanting to turn and flee while my affirmations reverberate in my bones, knowing these hostile strangers hold contempt for me. I make my way through the unfiltered air, lingering with distrust. I tell myself to breathe, and I ignore any conversations that have been hushed. Though my beauty glows within and without, and I am strong of will and spirit too, that disdain and rejection await me, I have no doubt. But as I arrive from where I've been, the veil of invisibility is ripped away when I walk in. Let me say that one more again. As I arrive from where I've been, the veil of invisibility is ripped away when I walk in. And this is the last one is called Sometimes I Just Need to Cry. I miss my mother, and sometimes I just need to cry. My tears are healing, but I still miss my mother. I miss my mother who gave me life and everlasting love. That's how much we can care. We can share, we can dare to bear our souls, our pain, our joy, our life. That's how much we can grow. We can know and blow and show our life is special, our life is true. I know me, I know you. Let's go forward and make a good thing. A good thing our mothers would be proud of. A love that's everlasting to pass on to our next generations. A love of understanding that meets our lofty expectations. Let them know that from the fruit of life, our love grows beyond the strife onto life's love everlasting. A life our mothers always wanted for us. A life we can give with unconditional trust. A love everlasting. A love beyond her passing. I miss my mother, and sometimes I just need to cry. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing all of those poems. What a beautiful tribute, that last one, and all of them were so lovely. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite AC Hunter up to the mic. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. Aleah Bradshaw, you fire, your flow, energy, loved it. I loved everybody. I'm so inspired. Okay. So I just wrote these two right now. This is where I'm at right now in my life. So here we go. The first one is called I Am Going There. I am running home now. Running to, steadily moving forward, gliding, sliding through the trenches, not running from, not grounded, not bound, chains off my mind. I choose to depart. I'm not escaping. I am free, both arms stretched and extending from my forelimbs like feather blue wings supporting the drive, riding, soaring, defying resistance from the wind, like an eagle with urgency to deliver before the sun goes down, as the earth finishes its rotational pull of the 24th hour. I am euphoric about my deep melanin skin tone, like a creamy dark chocolate bar melted down waiting to cool, like a jewel sprinkling its effervescent light. All eyes are on me when I walk in, a pop of color as my hips orchestrate their own stride to their own tune. Earth trembles as my foot lands, grass separates, granting me a path. I've been given the rights to the way, intentional about my life and its rights, calm as a gentle breeze because now the light sees me. Perception is everything. I am on my way. I am in control of who I am. I am self-care, self-aware, selfless, blissful, and jovial as the sweetest kiss. Microaggressions all dismissed, disguised as truth, but really abuse. Defibrillator from on high revived me from the white web that left me for dead, but I live. I am not alone. Though I stand by myself, surrounded by innumerable stealth of invisible forces protecting and guiding me, perception is everything. The Spirit of God whispers through the gases called air, this is your path, and voila. I am there. The second one is called It's on You Now. Ever wonder what happens when we neglect the soul? Is there a penalty for not being cognizant? What about the soul? Where do we go? And who keeps the soul? Should we inquire to know? What if the experience takes us far away and leads us down the road of doom and gloom with no light at the end? How do we choose if we believe in nothing? The soul craves not to be left out, like a door that shuts in your face and you hear the echo of the boat lock confirming no way back in. I see dead men walking. I see their eyes with blank stares, no light, no human sensation. It's like they are zombies. The Bible calls them tares. The soul is God's gift of immortality to humanity. It is the spiritual connection between time and the divine, where time doesn't dwell. It is eternity. It is the immaterial divine part of us. It is the core of who we are. Misusing it or giving it away, subjecting it to be controlled by unidentified entities, born not of this world and not divine. Oh yes, I speak of the signs of the times, warnings and wisdom spread through reverberations, inner alarm clock ticks pleading as you remain in the state of the threshold of consciousness. Ignoring the spiritual value may cause us to lose spiritual connection that leads to rejection. Now peace is intercepted by idols' love of money and fame. Now the soul is infected. An artificial system sucking out all innate wisdom, deceiving that soul ties and sacrifices are pure and right, only to be lured to the end of the road where an ambush was waiting to snuff out our life. A warning to dread, but some have closed their minds, the real ear that sees. Now they're spiritually dead. They've become zombies. They're zombies, although they're not physically dead. They walk around happy they sinning, but inside really afraid to be a zombie. They searched for a resting place, abandoned the soul, forfeited their birthright, and lost their divine place. Underestimated the times, fell far not too weak to climb. They disbelieved. Now dead consumes their mind. We only have a small window of time, but they abandoned their souls. They became zombies. What about the soul? Where will we go? It's on you now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was excellent hearing both of those pieces and always wonderful to hear your writing. Thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Lorraine Bonner up to the mic. Welcome.
Thank you, Nia. Thank you, Nia. And thank you for all of the poets who have gone before me. And thank you, Aleah. God, your work is so invigorating and inspiring and fabulous. Thank you. I just have this one poem. It's the title of the poem is Black People, We Live in the Land. And that's the first line of a poem by Lucille Clifton. Black people, we live in the land where woke white people say racism is America's original sin, as if stealing 2 whole continents was not also a sin, as if murdering the people who lived here for tens of thousands of years was not also a sin, as if cutting down every single tree in sight, enslaving the rivers, turning the prairie into a dust bowl, as if killing the wolves and bears and salmon and butterflies we will never ever see, but who were known and named and loved by people intimate with this land, was not also a sin. As if exterminating the language and songs and knowledge of African and Native people was not a sin. As if by saying racism, they get to be allies. When the real original sin, the one on which all the others rest, is a delusion. How some people came to see all of creation as things without souls, animals, plants, people, ocean, sky, land, all soulless things, commodities, a source of soulless wealth to be hoarded or ostentatiously displayed. We Black people live in a land made by people who abandoned their own land, who did not want to go back to their own home. They made themselves homeless and became landlords in someone else's home. We live in a land created by those homeless people in their own image, making all creatures homeless, even those they designate white. The people they trick into thinking this is their home. USA, USA. These so-called white people, their furniture on the sidewalk, their locks changed, their tents bulldozed under the overpass. We live in a land where being hungry is not a good enough reason to be fed. And yes, a land where a poor white woman and her baby survive, while a wealthy Black woman and her baby die, because class and race are not the same. The woke people are not wrong, but it's like saying, if Eve hadn't had a mouth, we would still be in paradise. We live in a land where bees see colors that we cannot imagine. In the sacred times, we know people had many names for green. Now we live in a land of delusion, forced to believe that red and green are only shades of gray. Our time is running out now. The ice is melting and the land slips under the water. We will all die if we can't find a way back to original blessing. We will all die. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorraine, for that piece. And oh, there were just so many incredible lines throughout and a very, again, timely message. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. Next up, I would like to invite Avacha up to the mic. Welcome, Avacha. Oh, you're still on mute.
I said, Ache, the Right Reverend Lorraine Bonner has just spoken. I heard you, sis. Wow. And Aleah, you know, I'm ashamed to admit I've never heard you before. And I also live in Oakland, and you got that Trini fire. So you may be from Colorado, but the Trinity's definitely put it on you. But anyway, I've got a couple for you, and anybody's in Sacramento, I'm doing a gig up there, a place I've never been to. It's called the Fancy Hippie, and they have Caribbean food and band, and I'm going to be doing a gig there with my book on Saturday. I'll put that and some other things in the chat. Anyway, for my book, With Every Step I Take, and I hope that MoAD's finally got the book there. Yes, yes, finally. Okay, you can get my book at MoAD, but you can also go to any of the independent bookstores and get it. The title from the book is With Every Step I Take 2. And the title itself is a metaphor, because those who know me, I've been in an electronic wheelchair for over 10 years. So anyway, very short poem, and then I'll do something else. My feet stand in dreams, run circles around the lakes in my mind, climb tropical hillsides inside forests, hidden behind the tenements, and dance all sweaty, a passionate urban exorcism wrapped in cortijo magic. My feet swim through concrete and drink the wind. They sing low-down blues tunes and pray with jazz bands. My feet are poems. Every inch on my road a chant, a sacred inspiration, a song. And with every step I take, I create and create and create and create. This next one's called The We of Us. And I had to write it because some of us have been here so long, as my sister before was talking about, who've forgotten who we are. And we're more than just me and I and I and I and I and I and I and I, you know, we've forgotten. And that's one of the things I love about going to the Caribbean. My family's from the Caribbean. They're also going to Africa, going even down to Mississippi. People still have that we of us kind of feel. And something is strange has happened in these cities. So this is called the We of Us. I'm trying to remind myself when I write, I dress yesterday's visions in today's rhythms, and I tap dance all over the page with every poem. And with every single word I write, I am reliving everything these culturalist cultures have tried their best to bury and replace with the sadness of their emptiness. And I continue to sing, keeping the ancestors alive by singing their songs, expanding traditions with new words and strange lands. I am the recognition of all the traditions the soulless have tried to erase. But with a giant thank you in our hearts, we joyfully climb out of the acceptable respectability of their passionless graveyards and are reborn in every poem we write. We sing to you through the rhythmic fire of samba. Every rumba reinstates your presence in our DNA. We cry the unashamed truth through the bluest of blues, exploding like La Bomba in the face of colonial insanity, and boldly fight the power with doo-wop, hip-hop, and jazz. I refuse to silently accept the unacceptable suicidal demise of our existence when every single day I can taste the we of us striving. We are more than just surviving. We are cultural alchemists, an undeniable force of creativity and motion. And through our creativity, we decolonize our legacy and free our minds and spirits. We are a whole lot more than just you and me. It's all about the you in me. The me and you, the we of us, writing our way out of the delusion of manifest destiny's self-righteous madness and reinvigorating the dreams our ancestors died for. I want to know, can I do one more? Thank you. When Aleah put the Caribbean vibe when I have to do this one. And Sandra, you have been incognito too long. I am so glad whoever drug you out of here. I haven't seen you since the Last Supper, but anyway, that's a whole lot. Anyway, I'll shut up on that. Come out some more. I want to see more. Anyway, this one, for those of you who know, Maria, Hurricane Maria tore up the Caribbean, and Puerto Rico had really devastated. Up in the mountains, there still are places up there where have no electricity, no clean water, what have you. And different folks have different parts of the island they're sending stuff to. And my crew, we're sending stuff way up into the mountains. Well, I didn't know that Roberto was taking the stuff to the coffee growers who are way up at the top. And I'm a coffee hauler, real coffee hauler. And I got a box a few weeks ago, and I opened it, and all of these Puerto Rican brands of coffee fell out. And they said I never needed to buy another thing of coffee. They would supply me for the rest of my life if I promised never to drink a cup of Café Bustelo again, because Café Bustelo is not Puerto Rican coffee. They just put it a Spanish name. It's like Afro Sheen, developed by you know who. But anyway, so this one is called It's Raining Café. And for those who don't know, Borinquen is the name of the island before colonization. It's in Spanglish, but you get the message. So it's raining, R-E-I-G-N-I-N-G. It's Raining Café, or Confesiones de una cafeólica sin vergüenza, or Confessions of a Shameless Coffee Holic. Way up in the mountains of Borinquen, it's raining café, indescribably precious gifts and little tiny coffee beans, proud and homegrown and more numerous than raindrops, café real con un aroma sin igual, and just the scent of café teto transports me to el pueblo de las Marias. This coffee is sacred, precious, delicious, a real mountain treasure. Es un licor natural y orgánico y 100% del pueblo borincano. And with every cup of café el mañanero and café lealtad, I am reborn. En las montañas de la Isla del Encanto, it's raining café. But even here, 3,595 miles away from Eta Fruta Sagrado del Campo, I daily drink in the power of those mountains, and I am energized. Every single day when I taste the essence of Café Cibales, I can feel the naturaleza of Ciales come alive inside my insides. And Café Oro de Puerto Rico, ay, qué rico. Café increíble con su aroma sabroso, a sacred encanto that tastes of majesty. And con cada trago de nuestro café subo para el cielo. In the mountains, I say in the mountains of La Isla del Encanto, it's raining café, royal coffee beans. Un tesoro nacional with hypnotic aromas that smell of the wildness of freedom, untamable freedom, libre like the dirt of the mountains that gave them birth. Oh yes, I say I confess, I'm hooked. I get drunk with every cup of café de aquí Hutuado, majestuoso tesoro sagrado de las montañas, and in my house. I say in my house, tomo el sabor 100% de la montaña, and I shamelessly admit it. There is not one drop of doubt in my mind. I am a proud 100% unapologetic coffeeholic. And in my house, it's raining café 100% from the mountains of La Isla del Encanto, La Isla del Encanto, La Isla de mi corazón. Anyway, enough of that. Anyway, and if you want to get some real coffee, get some of the real deal. You can get it from the island. They'll be more than willing to send it to you. It's cheaper, it's organic, and you'll be supporting some folks who are really hurting big time. And before I leave, I got to say, support MoAD, not just at these poetry readings, because I don't see some of you coming out to some, they do all these amazing events. Please support MoAD. Thank you, I shut up.
Thank you so much, Abacha. Those poems were beautiful as always. Your storytelling, incredible. And thank you so much for your support and dedication to this space. We so appreciate all of you showing up at these programs, sharing your voice, coming to the museum. It really helps us, support our communities, continue doing this work. So it really means a lot to see you all here, to see you all actively participating and supporting all of our readers. Again, shout out to everyone who read this evening. Shout out to Aleah. That was an amazing feature. So excited to hear more work from you. I invite you all to continue coming to this open mic series. We have it every month. It's still online for now. Our next one will be on May 25th, and our feature will be Kevin Dublin. So please check out the link, sign up to read again, share with other folks who may want to get on the mic. As Abacha mentioned, this is just one of many programs that we do. We have incredible exhibitions on view as well. So if you are local and able to, please do come visit us in person. There's always something going on. You can visit moadsf.org to see more, check out our calendar. And lastly, if you want to even do more, become a member or make a donation. Both of those ways also help us support you guys, support the work that we're doing. And so we really appreciate any and all ways that you can show up and continue to support. And lastly, we'd love hearing from you if you want to give some more affirmations to our readers, give us feedback about the program, other ideas you may have for what you'd like to see. Please do take a few moments to fill out our program survey. It really does help inform our work and continue to do this work for everyone. So thank you all, and I hope to see you again soon, and take care.